You
All
sound
right,
like
we're live. We are live, folks. We are live.
All right,
sound
good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Another edition of All Point Sports. My name is Doc Holliday. We have a special guest tonight and some regulars. Let's see who's on board here tonight. Let's meet all the way from Rapid City, South Dakota, JG the Kid. That's my son, John. How you doing, John?
Pretty good, hanging in there. I had about a 3 week hiatus, had some military training, had a blizzard, and then I had work calling. So I'm finally off and glad I'm get to share the night with
I
y'all.
don't know if John can hear you, Doc.
Oh, Stephen J here as well. Let's
Yeah.
meet all the way from Oswego State University. He'll be graduating this month. He's studying broadcast and journalism, and you can hear him on radio up in Syracuse, New York. He's a big sports guy, very knowledgeable. And let's hear it for Stephen J. How you doing, Stephen J?
Wow, quite the intro, Doc. I appreciate it. And thanks for reminding me that I graduate soon. That's well, something just ran down my leg, I think, just thinking about that. That's, man. But yeah, everything's going good up here at Oswego. We finally got a nice sunny week here. So, right here by the Mistake by the Lake, everything's going good. Doc Holliday, Fred Rubino, how are you guys?
Well, let's
beautiful.
Let's meet our special guest right now, all the way from the great state of Florida. Yeah, big things going on down there. He's a headline comedian. You've seen him at the Borgata. You've seen him at the Villa Roma. He's the king of Brooklyn, Fred Rubino. How you
Yeah.
doing, Fred?
Woo! Yes, I'm doing fine. I'm trying out this new bourbon, peach bourbon. It sucks. It really sucks. But you gotta polish the bottle off. You have no choice.
Is that the thing in Florida? Peach bourbon, Fred?
No, Florida is methamphetamine. That's it. in, in Florida, either you have a nice house and you have nice things and you're retired and you have a nice car, or you have a bicycle and you live in a shack and you hooked on methamphetamine. There's no in between. It's crazy out here.
Well, Fred Rubino, we're so glad to have you on All Point Sports, a special guest, and let's meet the rest of the crew, all the way from the great state of New Jersey, Bobby Blackjack. Bobby, how you doing tonight?
What's up, fellas? What's going on? Hi, Steven. How are you?
Hey, Bobby, what's up?
Hey, John.
How you
And of
doing?
course, Mr. Rubino. What's going on, fellas?
Oh, nothing much. We're just gonna kick back here and have some fun, talk a little sports.
Well, let's get right to it. We're going to start with a question that everybody can have an answer to. Fred Rubino, this is a little outside the box. We know you're a big sports fan. How about tailgating? We're going to talk about right now the what do you think of the concession stands, the prices of concessions at the games, and also what would you like to see as a concession at the game? Fred Rubino.
Uh, First of all, the prices are crazy. Okay, when I was a kid, you would cut out of school and go to an afternoon Yankee game, and you had enough money, like your uncle would hand you a couple of bucks, and you would be able to go. You can't go anymore. I looked at the cheapest seats; they were two and change. I had to call. I had to get like a reverse mortgage to get tickets to the Yankees, and the food is like gourmet food. I
So,
went, I went with my daughter. We ordered two things. It was 60 something dollars.
wow.
It was unbelievable. So you tailgating is definitely the way to go. And for years, when I would go to Yankee Stadium, there's a place across the street, Stan Sports Bar.
Hmm.
I would go in, I would say, give me a shot and a beer. He'd give me the shot. I downed the shot. By the time he came with the beer, I'd order another shot. This way, you get a little head on your shoulder, and you don't have to buy all that shit. Any way you could circumvent spending all that money, you should, because I think it's a crime that they took sports away from kids.
And what do you see in the concession stand? What would you like to see? Something different, Fred. What would you like to see at the concession stand for a fair price?
For a fair price, I would like to see something like a a cannoli. You know what I'm saying? Like something, you know, Italian night. They should have an Italian night. They should have cannoli, sausage, and peppers.
It's
I
in the
mean, look,
Bronx. It's always Italian night.
I always thought bat day was Italian night because you get to put a bat in your trunk of your car and you say, "Hey, I was at bat night."
But now they give the bat after the game is over, right, Fred? They don't give it to you before.
They give it to you on the way out. Let me tell you something. It used to send chills up my spine because in the middle of the game, they would tell everyone to hold your bat up. And it looked like a forest of bats. And it was one of the greatest experiences of like your childhood. Now, it's like when you're leaving. It's like when you're at your aunt's house and all the shit food that no one ate. Here, take this, go. Here, go, get out.
Well, great points made, Fred. Let's go to Rapid City, South Dakota. I know, John, that you've been to some games, and tell us where you've been and how are the prices on concessions, and what would you like to see?
Can y'all hear me okay?
Sure.
Yep.
All right. So we just got back. We took a road trip to Kansas City to watch the Braves play. And, you know, that's my favorite team. So that's the closest they come to Rapid City, South Dakota until we play the Colorado Rockies in August. So it was a little bit cold, but we made it through and we swept the Royals and it turned out to be good. For concessions, I would like to see like a combo package. Like you're already paying the price to get into the stadium. Like it should be a combo meal at a fair price, not having to buy everything separate. Then it adds up pretty quick.
Some stadiums have that.
Okay.
They have a ticket, 2 hot dogs, and a soda. But those are the shit teams. That's like the Mets. The Mets, they'll give you like a used car and they'll give
So, what about it, Stephen J? I know you've been to a game this year. What do you think?
Not gonna lie, the internet has been quite horrible here. Maybe because I'm partially in Canada, so I really couldn't hear any of that. My audio's cutting in and out, but I'm assuming we're on baseball. Considering I heard that conversation about the Mets, I will agree that they do suck. But what is the what were we talking about here, Doctor? I think I got you guys back.
The concessions. What do you think about the prices for concessions?
You need to pop out a kidney if you want to go to the Yankee Stadium concessions. It's ridiculous. I mean, considering with the Judge contract, you know, at least you know what it's going to now. But it's not so cheap, especially for a kid like me on a college budget. And you get there, and all you want to do is just have a good time. But it's rough. And who is the baseball player, Bob? You might know this. The baseball player that was complaining about them selling beer into the 8th inning now.
Was that one of the Mets guys?
He was either Mets or Phillies. But I know there was a reliever going around saying that he didn't like that they're selling beer into the 8th inning instead of the 7th inning now, and he got he got some backlash on that. A lot of people who I guess enjoy a drink or two at the ball game, they got on his tail about that.
So let's go to Bobby Blackjack. Bobby, we know you broadcast games and you've been to games. What do you pay for a water? What do you pay for a hot dog? It's unbelievable. 5 times the price. What do you think, Bobby?
Well, you're spending here's your choice, and it depends on your life and your health. You're either spending $8 for a Poland Spring bottle of water, or you risk your life with the water fountain, with the water in some of these facilities. But I'll tell you one thing. I'm not sure if you guys listen to Craig Carton in the afternoon on WFAN, but he has some poll with some of these stadiums, and he has introduced bacon on a stick. I am dying to try bacon on a stick. That to me sounds delicious.
What do you think about bacon on a stick, Fred Rubino?
Well, as a devout Muslim, I cannot eat bacon. All right. You're gonna get Muslims and Jews going crazy saying, "Oh, I eat the bacon and the ham and the no good," and it's not. So you're always gonna cause some kind of furor over some shit if you introduce anything. But bacon on anything is good. Anything. Bacon on your sister, I'll take.
Have you ever done a bacon episode on Get the Food Out of Here, your cooking show? Fred Rubino does a wonderful cooking show every week on the internet. Thousands of people watch in. I saw him make so many wonderful dishes. Any bacon recipes?
I did. I made an egg salad that I added a mashed avocado and bacon in it. And I actually got a gig out of that. People from Minnesota all got together and they're like, "This is the best egg salad I ever had. Get that guy up here."
Yeah.
I got up there. It was the middle of the summer. It was snowing. I don't know how the fuck people live in Minnesota, but it was not.
Minnesota, Oswego, same thing, right? Right,
I was
Steve?
gonna say not too far off.
Yeah.
We're like Eskimos up here.
And not too far from Rapid City. But let's go right to sports right now. It's been a big start to the Major League Baseball season. We just started the NBA playoffs. It's been a big start to the Major League Baseball season.
Someone's echoing.
NBA playoffs. Oh, that's me. Yeah. So what we're going to ask right now, we're going to start with Fred Rubino. We know who it is, but tell everyone your favorite Major League Baseball team and why they're going to be in the World Series this year.
The New York Yankees are the greatest team ever, and they're a great organization. We have Judge. We have great pitching. Nothing can stop us this year. This is the year. Not even the Tampa Bay Rays, which got off to a good start. But I don't know if you've ever been to the stadium in Tampa Bay. It's like the worst stadium in the world. It's like your high school stadium. It's horrible. I'm actually hoping they don't make it so people won't be forced to go to that stadium. It's a real garbage place. But the Yankees have a great organization. I don't get to see them as much. Last time I went to a Yankee game, I pulled into the parking lot. Guess how much to park?
30.
$45.
$45.
My goddamn car didn't cost that much. Holy shit. 45 to just drive in.
Yeah,
I got the tickets for free. It cost me $200 for the day.
Well, it's 40 to park, just confirmed at Citi Field, 45 at the Yankee Stadium, and that's to park pretty close. Now, did you have a safe walk in from where you parked?
It's the Bronx. Are you kidding me? It's the Bronx. You're lucky to be alive by the time you get it. That's why you don't care how much the food costs. You're lucky to be alive. You just made it through the worst neighborhood in New York. You're like, yeah. It's like your last meal. Take all our money. Let's buy a hot dog and let's hope we survive tonight.
Did you make it home safely, Freddie?
I did. It's a nightmare with traffic. New York's got the worst traffic, In Florida, you get on the highway, 9:00, everyone's asleep already in Florida. I'm doing a show tomorrow. It's the late show. I go, late show? I thought it was like 7:30. The guy goes, yeah, that's the late show.
Wow.
I can't take that.
Yeah, it's Yankee Stadium is in a real dangerous area. I thought when they redid Yankee Stadium, if you're going to knock down the old stadium and knock down history, rebuild it in a good neighborhood. Who gives a shit if it's 2 blocks away? It's still not the regular stadium, right? So put it somewhere nice.
So where would you put it, Freddie?
I would put it in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, the home of the Italian American. You go there, you have a nice meal, You park wherever you want. You know, and it's got to be in a safe neighborhood. You know, put it in like one of those Indian neighborhoods. You ever hear of Indians committing crimes? Never. Ever hear of the Indian gangs that go around and kill people? No. They're like
You
the
got a point.
best people in the world. You go to the Indian place, you make fun of the guy, you give him a hard time, he laughs, he goes, "Okay, thank you for coming in." What unbelievable people. Put anything in an Indian neighborhood, I'm going.
And how's Atlanta, John? The Atlanta Braves off to a big start. Who's your favorite Atlanta Brave? Why are they going to be in the World Series against Fred Rubino's Yankees?
Well, it's looking like Ronald Acuna Jr. is fully healthy. He's off to an unbelievable start. We lost today, 1-0 to the Padres, but we won 8 in a row before that. We have a plethora of injuries, and we just keep winning. We calling guys up, and we just keep winning, plug in and play, and we're gonna be there in the end.
All right, sounds good. Stephen J., we know that you're a big Yankee fan. We tease about the Mets all the time. We're not big Mets fans, but you have to really take a good look at the Mets, who handled Syndergaard today with a Scherzer striking him out. They come back against the Dodgers. What do you say, Stephen J.? Who's your team this year?
Well, I got some bad news for Fred. The Yankees are not a favorite as of this point in the year. This Yankee team is running on fumes at the moment, and it's only mid-April. I mean, this team is crazy injured. Every different day, it's someone different. Of course, you get your like monthly stand to the IL. You get him on the shelf. At least thank God that Donaldson's gone. But I mean, I think the Yankees are up 2-1 right now in the seventh. They're going to need to pull off a lot of these games where it's just a close game. And when you have young guys like Schmidt and Brito, it's always a crapshoot with them. So it's going to be a rough stretch. I think Stanton's out for like 6 months with a hamstring. I don't know anyone who pulls their hamstring running to second base. I thought that was kind of textbook for baseball, but not for Mr. Stanton, who's just best bench pressing and trying to swing the absolute what out of the ball. But I mean, the Mets right now, despite they played the Oakland A's, obviously they swept them there, but they've had a really good series against the Dodgers. This Mets team, after kind of couple bad series with Miami and the Brewers, they're starting to put things together. Now, of course, they have a couple issues. Scherzer might be put away for a couple games, couple starts after today's incident, but the Mets got it going together. But you know what, this Yankee team, they always figure a way to be positive. It's April, right? So you don't hit the alarm, but it's just annoying at this point with the Yankees. It's April and we can't even have a smooth month. So, things are good, things are bad. Iron it out in the beginning of the year, that's fine. But the Mets, they're finally they're done tripping over their feet. They're a very good Dodger team they just beat. So, Mets and Yankees, good record so far.
Let me tell you something about the Mets and the Yankees. The Yankee organization is all about winning. If they all banged up 3/4 of the way, they'll buy anyone. They'll do anything they can. The Mets are involved in a Ponzi scheme. They lose all their money. They got the hot dog guy leading off on. It's the most ridiculous organization I've ever seen in my life. They build the new stadium. Here's one thing I don't understand about the Mets. They build a new stadium, right? The Yankees, we have Thurman Munson Alley. We got Babe Ruth Rotunda. Right? Everybody's got their great player. The Mets build a stadium and call it the Jackie Robinson Rotunda. He never played for the Mets. How could you put someone who never played for your team and name a part of the stadium for him? Why don't you just name the Collier Skrimsky fucking dugout, I've never seen a team. It's like the Dallas Cowboys saying this is the Brett Favre wing of the stadium. It doesn't make sense. How could they got Tom Seaver? It couldn't have been the Tom Seaver Rotunda. the Cleon Jones, the Tommy Agee. I've never seen a team name a stadium, a part of the stadium, after someone who's never played for them. Can you explain that to me?
It's out of respect, Freddie. It's out of respect the New Yorkers have for the great number 42.
Yeah,
Well
we
done.
respect them. You know what? Make hot dogs 42 fucking cents if you want to honor him. Make it $42 for any ticket on Jackie Robinson Day. But you don't name the rotunda after this fucking guy.
I mean, they just got Seaver's name in one of the play. They got like a Seaver statue, right? After how many years? He's been off the team for God knows how long.
And I tell you one thing, being an all-time Yankee fan, Tom Seaver is one of the underrated pitchers of like all time. If you look at his numbers, it's like amazing what Seaver has done. One statue in the junkyard next to fucking Shea Stadium.
Number 41. We don't know why some things happen. And it's a tough thing. You're right, Freddie. I agree with you.
It's
I
all
love Jackie
all the
Robinson.
refunds.
Get a Jackie Robinson Day. $42 a ticket. $42 for his jersey. 42 cents for a hot dog. But not the goddamn rotunda.
Well, they do have the K corner, right, Stephen J?
I think so.
Named after the famous Ralph Kiner.
Beautiful. Ralph.
Yeah, they do. It's been a while since I've been at Citi Field, thankfully, but to my memory.
How about Casey Stengel? The rotunda. How about fucking who's the other guy? The coach from the '69 Mets. What was his name? I forget.
Come on, Bobby Blackjack.
I'm getting it.
Bill Hodges.
Gil Hodges.
Gil
What about
Hodges.
Hodges rotunda.
Yeah.
I don't
Eddie Kranepool rotunda.
Ed Kranepool.
Don Clendenin.
Anyone that played for your goddamn team.
Tug McGraw.
Mookie. Get a little Mookie.
Mookie Wilson.
Let's get Lenny Dykstra something.
Yeah.
It's been
Bobby Bonilla.
Lenny Dykstra. Bobby Bonilla, yeah.
How about
He
Carter?
gets enough from them. He gets enough from them.
Gary Carter. Nolan Ryan.
The Piazza. How about that?
Yeah, Piazza Pizza.
Yeah. I can't understand how a team, I swear to God, I can't understand how a team could name a part of their stadium after someone who didn't play. Just doesn't make any sense. And that's the Mets. That sums up the Mets and everything right there.
So who you think was the best Mets coach ever? Fred Rubino.
Gil Hodges. Gil Hodges, definitely, no matter what, without a doubt. And before that, Casey Stengel, he took a shit team and it was a shit team. It was a shit franchise and he suffered through it and he built it up to be ready for Gil Hodges, So those two guys were really the foundation of the whole franchise. Nothing. Let's bring Jackie Robinson in.
Right.
What about Bobby Valentine with the mustache and the glasses?
Yeah, it was like Studio 54 in the dugout with that guy. Yeah. But, listen, I think Gil Hodges, he was the man. 69 Miracle Mets. That was mostly, I'd have to say that the coaching had a large part to do with that year. So I'd have to say, give the guy, make it Gil Hodges Stadium.
But it's all about money now, Fred.
It's all about.
And let's go right now to the NBA. And if you're a Yankee fan, you're a Yankee fan. You got to be a Knick fan. What basketball team
Hell
do you
no.
follow?
I love the Knicks, but I always had a little thing for the Boston Celtics because I thought Larry Bird was like a freak of nature, and he was like one of the greatest basketball players of all time. I think he was a Hoosier. Was he a Hoosier?
No,
No.
he was a Sycamore from Indiana State University.
Sycamore.
Yeah.
You sure he wasn't a poplar?
Yeah. He was very popular.
Yeah,
So
I thought he was just great, and I always loved Larry Bird, and now they have like one of these documentaries about him, and I didn't even know half the shit. And you see all these guys like Magic Johnson and stuff tuning it, talking about him, and they talk about him like, because these are the greats of the game. They were like, there was no one like this guy.
Well,
No.
they met in the college finals, right, JG?
They did. I want to say they played Michigan State and lost to Magic.
Yeah, that was in the finals. You remember that, Bobby?
I think he's right. I'll double check now.
Yeah, Bobby
Oh,
fact checking.
again, it was also the Lakers and Celtics too.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And they got physical. I remember him having a fight with like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They would go at it. He would smash him in the face, and Jabbar would push him on the floor. That's when the NBA. I could identify with the NBA. Back then the NBA, like the Knicks had Earl DePearl, they had Willis Reed. There was always like 3 good players on the court. Now you got like the one guy. Every team's got the one superstar. He does everything. Listen, I coached basketball for years on, for the local parish. I always did it very simple. If you have one great guy, I'll double team the shit out of him. I'll foul the shit out of him. Try and win with the other 4. I don't know why the other teams don't do that.
Yeah,
Did
we
you
had
play hardball, Freddie?
Well, listen, they were all Italians. It was very hard to put a team together, Do you ever have an Italian Little League? They used to cancel the game because we ran out of bread. You know what I mean? It was very hard. We had to put 2 kids on top of each other just to equal one Puerto Rican kid because Italians were so short. It was very hard coaching an Italian team.
Bobby, give us the facts.
March 26, 1979. Michigan State played Indiana State. They won by 11. That was the national final. Yeah.
Wow.
Very nice. And those cards, those NBA cards right now are worth big bucks. The Larry Birds and the Magic Johnsons.
I'm sure.
So Fred, I have a basketball question for you. Who's greater, Michael Jordan or LeBron James?
Michael Jordan.
Okay.
I got to say Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was a phenomenon. And LeBron James, like I said, the whole team is geared. The whole team is geared to LeBron James scoring as much as he can and supporting him. I feel Michael Jordan was great, and he supported other players. I believe Michael Jordan made other players great. I think LeBron James, the whole team is geared to making him great. I think there's a big difference there. Not that he's not great. I mean, but you know what? I don't even think he. You say Michael Jordan, LeBron James. I'll put Will Chamberlain over LeBron James.
100 points, Freddie.
Listen, score 100 points, then come talk to me.
And that's without the 3-pointer in the mix.
Right.
Who's the best, John? Who's the best
to score 100
of all
points
time?
against plumbers and mailmen who play basketball as a side job?
Those mailmen were tough because they rest all day. They're very lazy, man.
Well, I'll give you a little fact about Will Chamberlain. Will Chamberlain played in the Catskills. They made him a bellman at the Concord Hotel, and he played on the basketball team there. They used to stack the teams with the best players in the history of the Catskills. Some of the greatest players played right up here in Sullivan County. But
I
let's
mean,
go, John.
I would have
John.
loved to seen that.
Oh,
Who they
yes.
play? Kushner's, the Jews, the Jewish team.
Yeah, and then they played the Neville, the Greek team.
They,
at the
they
Summer
played
League.
the Greek team. Don't let them get behind you.
Who's the best of all time, John?
I definitely gotta go with Michael Jordan. Just growing up and him beating up on the Knicks ruined my whole childhood. Had me
Ruined
crying
our childhood.
every playoff run. He just would eliminate us. And as he got older and lost his athleticism, just a turnaround fadeaway jump shot. If you do that by yourself 10 times, in a row, you're probably hitting 2 of them. And he just mastered that shot. And he was just amazing. And he was one of the top defenders every year that he played. So,
That's another unsung stat
mhm,
of Jordan, right?
mhm.
The defense.
And what about it, Stephen J?
Stephen J is the X factor here because he did not see Jordan play live. Have you?
Yeah, I mean,
when you're little, I'm saying, but you don't, because you're at that point now. See, that's the divide I see in the debate. It's those who have never seen Michael Jordan play assume LeBron James is better.
that's the thing. When you see someone like that live, especially when you're fairly young, because as an adult, older adult, the players that you see now, they're never going to be as good as the players that you saw when you were a kid because you idolize them. So, I never got the chance to see Jordan. Obviously, LeBron was my Jordan growing up, but you have to give the slight edge to Jordan just because there. You,
Now the game has changed, right? Don't you think it was more physical back then?
It was definitely more physical. I think that
LeBron James back then getting elbows from people, and even before Michael Jordan, you got Willis Reed pushing people on the floor, and it was violent.
Bill Laimbeer.
Lambeer, Russell.
what made Michael so special is all of his best moments were at the end of the game. LeBron James has, great dunks, great passes, all that, but there's never like the signature. There's no signature MJ crossover at the foul line, jump shot at the buzzer. There's nothing like that I've seen with LeBron. Now, is he the most consistent player over 20 years? Yes. The only reason why I might say LeBron over Jordan is just because he's played longer from 18 to 38. He's played almost the exact same level. So you got to give him credit for that. You can't take points off of Jordan that, he stopped at his prime for a little bit and then came back, which we won't get into. That was a complete mistake with the Wizards. But, in such a short time, Jordan was great. So you give him that he had such an amazing run for a shorter period of time from LeBron. But on the flip side, LeBron's owned the league for 20 years. And that's something that that no one can say. So it's a toss up. All the stats are going to go to LeBron because he's played more. So you can't just look at stats. But I just think Jordan overall, just a little bit above LeBron. As much as I want to say Bron, I got to go Jordan.
Yeah, sometimes stats don't say it all. Like Dan Marino, who never won a Super Bowl, but everybody says, he's better than a lot of guys who won Super Bowls. So, sometimes the stats don't say the whole thing. Like with Larry Bird.
So, Doc, I got one for you. Doc, who is better? Muggsy Bogues or Spud Webb?
Ooh. That's a tough one, Bobby, but
I'm just Joshua. Yeah, just
two short men.
They both
Bogues 5'3", for God's sakes.
Mm-hmm.
Was he? And he could dunk.
And he could dunk, yeah.
That's freakish.
Who was the guy? Walt Williams. He could dunk from standing. I think he was 5'8".
Wow.
Yeah, from a standing position.
So, Fred,
I lost interest a lot in the NBA. You know, here's another thing about LeBron. He's so turned a lot of people off that people who love the NBA and used to watch it, like if the Knicks weren't in, I would still watch it. LeBron, I almost want to say that I dislike him to watch him and to stuff like that. So he's like actually turned me off to a lot of basketball if my team wasn't in it. Where Michael Jordan, it would be like, yeah, turn it on. Michael Jordan's on.
let's watch TV. Yeah.
Michael globalized the game. That's you got to give him credit for that too. Where basketball was and where he took it to, I mean, the single biggest jump for any sport, you know, the one player to have that effect on basketball, he completely globalized the game from America to people coming all over the world to see the Bulls.
It wasn't he cut in high school or junior high, John?
He was cut in high school. Yep.
I think freshman year, right, or sophomore.
He's got his freshman year. That's a story that I got an issue with. He tried out for the varsity team, I think, in his freshman year. I don't think many people are going to make that team. I sure as hell didn't.
I didn't make the basketball team, and I was homeschooled. My mother started over me.
Speaking of Knicks, Fred, did you watch the game last night? I'm glad you didn't.
I did not.
They almost looked like the Brooklyn Nets on the first night of the playoffs. It was embarrassing.
Stop.
I watched the Ranger game last night. That's what I watched.
Rangers. Go Rangers.
But
Yeah,
I think
the
the
Rangers.
first superstar in the NBA that really globalized basketball was Dr. J. I think that was the first guy that people went, look at this. Like it wasn't just basketball anymore. He put on that show. He was the first one that you would look and you weren't, a member, a fan of that team, but you tuned in to see Dr. J do this with the ball. And I think he was the original, he was the OG.
The OG.
Of globalized basketball.
All right.
So where did he play first? The ABA or the NBA, Dr. J?
I think he played in the ABA first.
ABA
The New Jersey Nets?
Or New York Nets.
New York Nets?
Yeah, I think it was New York Nets, then Jersey.
I believe he's right, yeah. They had the crazy ball with different colors.
Yeah, they still have it.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to be a collector's item. Could you imagine having that ball signed by Dr. J now? That's got to be worth like $20.
You remember the center? Billy
Yeah.
Paltz. Billy Paltz.
Wow.
Dr. J, Billy Paltz. Come on. Couldn't get better than that.
It wasn't better than that. It was fantastic. Fantastic. He was the OG of all of basketball.
So he was the original dunker.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
Windmill dunk, the whole thing.
So, Fred, who was your
Play,
football team?
John?
What's that?
Did you ever see Dr. J play films?
Just highlight reels of Dr. J. He was a little bit before my time, but he definitely looked amazing. But back to the Knicks, I'm still hurting after that loss. And it was so frustrating to watch Julius Randle. If you double him, he crumbles every single time. He jumps in the air, then he gets so pissed that he can't shoot the ball that he'll throw a bullet pass out of bounds because he wants to shoot that ball so bad. He doesn't let the game come to him. He forces everything. Then he drives, gets down low with two bigs right there on him. Still tries to force it up, gets ripped, and Tom Thibodeau doesn't hold him accountable for anything. Then Thibodeau's next favorite player, RJ Brick by Brick Barrett. the most inconsistent Nick there is. This guy just got a 4-year, $130 million extension, and is just absolutely terrible. He's 6'7", can't hit layups, can't hit free throws, can't even shoot, and it is so frustrating as a Knicks fan when those guys go off the court. The ball moves. Everything's so different. They get back on, the ball stops moving, and it is just so hard. Oh, I'm just still frustrated from that loss.
So can they win at home?
Uh, New York City should be rocking Friday night. The
Oh,
Garden will be
absolutely.
electric. I just hope, like, Jalen Brunson has to play 48 minutes. He could not come out the game because once they take him out, it is just a disaster. He has to play the whole game, and what's Thibodeau's problem is he makes no adjustments. He's a defensive minded coach. Barrett's getting killed on D. Julius Randle gives zero effort on defense. So what do? He makes no adjustments. And he had his stars in down 25 and almost got Randle hurt. So it is frustrating, and I hope he does something because we've seen this story before. The last time we played the Hawks, you double Julius Randle, and then it's just a nightmare.
So what do you say, Stephen J? Can the Knicks pull it out, or are they done?
Thankfully, I heard all that from JG because that was spot on. That was, I mean, it's almost exactly like we saw last year in Game 2. I mean, if Randall wasn't on against the Hawks in 2021, they weren't going to win a game. Their offense in Game 1 was, all right, Brunson has the ball and he scores. Second game, when Brunson didn't score, it was like, all right, let's try to give it to Brunson again. Barrett has had multiple miserable games. Randall's been good, not great, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt right now because he's got a sore ankle. Mitchell Robinson does nothing besides rebound. And the bench, haven't seen much from Quickly. Toppin just shoots corner threes. This is a very brutal Knicks team where you can't have your worst game of the season be in the postseason because that's
Right.
going to.
What about Josh Hart, the hustler?
Josh Hart, the hustler, even he's hurt now. You know, this Knicks team is a little banged up. They've never been at full strength throughout the year, or at least the last month of the year they weren't. So,
See, that goes back to what days. There were 3 or 4 really good players, and if one guy was having a downtime and the other guy, it would always be someone to pick it up. Like you would hear, one guy had a great game who was always like a mediocre player, but he had a great game because the other guy was having a shit game. This team, like the Knicks, like a lot of other teams, that's the superstar. If their good scorer is not on, it's over. It's over. And it's a brutal game. There's never anybody who steps up and says, man, the Knicks weren't doing good and they got 40 points off the bench. You never see that anymore.
and what the Knicks' worst nightmare is now is that they're going up against an incredibly young Cavaliers team. Out of all the playoff teams, they're probably the youngest, if not, top 2 or 3 youngest teams. These Thibodeau teams do not last throughout the year. We've seen that time and time again with the Bulls, with the Timberwolves. Like John said, Randall's playing minutes that he shouldn't be playing. Brunson's playing minutes he shouldn't be playing, especially Game 2 last night. The fact that they're going up against a super young team in the Cavaliers, and this Knicks team, as we've just seen from trends of other Thibodeau teams, they're burnt out. And a lot of former players have said that. So that's what scares me when you're going up against a fresh, young Cavaliers team. Not saying that the Knicks aren't young, but especially yesterday, they looked a little burnt at the end of the year, as all Thibodeau teams do. So Barrett's got to show up in Game 3. If Barrett doesn't play well, they're not going to win. I mean, how many times can you rely on Brunson to drop, 20-something, 30-something every night?
Brunson isn't a workhorse. He's not a guy you just go to and Brunson's going to bring us to the next level. No.
He was unconscious Game 1, and they only won by 3 points. So you can't expect games like that every night. And the fact that it was just like the Cavs, Garland went off for 30-something the other night. They need a night like that from Hart or from Barrett. They can't just keep expecting the same thing from their top 2 guys And game one, you were feeling really good. Game two, the table's completely turned. The Cavs have, switched the momentum around completely, especially after a heartbreaker like that in game one. That is tough to get that momentum back in a game two. And they kicked their ass. And now game three, the Knicks should be glad that they're going to the Garden because they need all the help they can get from their fans.
Yeah. And the Cavs made adjustments by doubling Brunson to get it out of his hands.
You say they're done?
Yeah, Cavaliers beat them.
Cavaliers are going to take this. Like he was saying, they double teamed them. They found the key. If you do, I can't see if they double team it again. I can't see them winning.
Mm-hmm. And the Cavs, statistically, been the best defense all year. So the Knicks offense has to show up. Their defense definitely did not yesterday. And like we said, they need a lot of contributing pieces, and they got none of that. Barrett, 2021, the first 2 games of this year, when do we start to worry about him being the guy if he belongs in New York, especially in the playoffs? That's how you make your name in New York.
And that was the second fewest points we scored all season.
Wow.
It's playoffs.
Tough.
Let's talk Nets now after that one.
I'm just glad we're there. You guys are on. We're going to the finals. Out of here.
Hey, they have the most first-round picks out of all the playoff teams, so you can give yourself a pat on the back for that.
Well, the Yankees update, they're tied up now with the Angels in the 8th inning. They're going to the bottom of the 8th. Islanders tied with the Hurricanes 3-3. And that's the end of the 3rd, so they're going to be going into OT. Bruins, very surprising, losing by 1 goal to the Panthers at home. Boston Bruins.
That's a good hockey town, Boston. You know that?
Oh, yeah.
I tell you what, I get to travel a lot when I do comedy. And you go to these cities, and some of these cities are such great sports cities. I was in Kansas City a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month to 2 ago. Everything is Chiefs. Chiefs, bums had Kansas City Chief jerseys on, begging on the side of the road. Every store had Kansas City Chiefs. It was amazing. I just love shit like that. I love to go to a city and see that. Chicago's like that. Chicago is like, the Bears, no matter what. And the Bulls, and murder. They like to murder people too in Chicago. But, in between that, it's a great, I love great sports towns.
So name your top sports town, Fred.
The top sports town is New York City, baby. The Knicks, the Yankees, the Rangers, So that's the best. But there are other cities that are smaller cities, but they have such pride in their team. I love it. You see it all over. You see it, all over the country. And I tell you what, the Phillies and the Eagles, that's an insane town.
Even when they win, they flip over cars. Huh, Freddie?
The Phillies, they got a jail in their stadium to lock people up right then. What a crazy city. If you go to an Eagles game and you have a jersey from the other team, you're done. You might as well punch yourself in the face and save time because you're getting beat up.
But could it be from all that cheese whiz on the cheesesteaks, Freddie?
I think they're drunk on cheese whiz. I think you're right. I think they're snorting it. They're doing a lot of shit with cheese whiz there.
Yeah,
then you have on the other side of the state, you have Pittsburgh, where every team is black and yellow. That you got to admire.
Amazing town, Pittsburgh, for sports.
Well, they're strong. They're strong. They're steel workers. They work with steel. They have strong hands.
My father used to steal, but that's another story.
You gotta love those teams like the Raiders, like the Steelers. I mean, football in particular, but like the Niners, the Raiders, the Steelers, where they're just fans wherever you go. You'll find, Steelers fans, Cowboys fans in all 50 states.
I'm a Cowboys fan, baby.
Well, let's
Really?
go to something that just came out in the sports world, and I just saw it this morning. And this will go right to. We'll start with John because he's right in that state. The state of South Dakota is now banning any American Indian mascot names. What do you say about it, John?
I haven't got the update on that yet, Dad. So I would have to look deeper into that
Yeah,
because
New York.
they're banning any American Indian names as mascots for sports, and there's people in an uproar about it. I'm not too familiar with all the names out there, but as we see that in so many states, even Washington Redskins, now the Commanders. Let's go to and John will come back to us on that because that's close.
Hold on, no,
there.
Doc, hold on a second. Hold. John is a Braves fan. They are the last real pro team that has the Indian name.
Yes.
at the end of the day, it comes down to what Native American tribe is affiliated in that area, and if they're willing to agree and have like a deal or a partnership for that team or organization to keep the name, then they'll allow it. But some people are so against it, so they changed it. But even living here in South Dakota, it's a big Native American population. So I'd have to look deeper into that because there's, Native American high schools. They have the LNI tournament every year, state tournament, which is huge, which tribes come from all over to compete in the basketball tournament. So
The
Yeah,
stupidest thing I've ever heard in my whole goddamn life. All the teams that are named after American Indians are to honor them, to honor their bravery, to honor their tenacity, to honor them as being fearless warriors. They're not making fun of them. You think the fucking Eagles are making fun of Eagles? No, they're fucking saying that they're predators, that we love them. It's the stupidest thing in the world. God forbid there's a New Jersey team. Name them the New Jersey Italians. I fucking love it. Put Sinatra's fucking picture on the helmet. The New Jersey Italians. I would love it. I don't understand, and I guarantee you it's not the American Indians themselves. It's these woke liberal assholes who need something to complain about. Let me say, oh, I'm on the side of the Native American, and we're honoring them. We gave them casinos. They don't pay taxes. I dropped 40 grand last year in their casino. It's nobody is making fun of them. We're honoring them with the name, the Blackhawks, the Braves, the Braves. Holy shit. Unbelievable. It's the stupidest cause that they could take up. And this doesn't belong in sports. Sports is the great unifier. I grew up in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. A lot of people say, oh, you know what? A lot of things, people are a little bit maybe racist there or prejudiced. Let me tell you something. Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, we wanted to be Dr. J. We had our black heroes. There was no racism when it came to sports. Tommy Agee posters in the room. We loved them. And there's no room for that in sports. Sports is where you bring your family and you root for anyone based on their talent. We don't care where you're from or what your background is. And for them to inject it is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Could be the bourbon talking, but it is stupid.
I mean, there are a whole bunch of Commander fans who hate the fact that they changed from Mexicans.
Hmm.
Native Americans who actually hate the fact that they changed and they've ruined their Redskins heritage, like Fred
They
said.
were honoring them. They call themselves Redskins. I'm a red man. You see these Indians? They go, I'm a red man. Don't call me Native American. I'm a red man. They were proud.
But what about the Raiders? The Raiders, it's like a pirate on the helmet. Is
Well,
it
that
all right for a
Arr.
because
Raider, a pirate, but not an Indian? Come on.
well, a lot of pirates were offended by that. You know, there was a lot of
Maybe we should get like a 31st team, the Snowflakes. How do you like that, Fred?
Yeah.
yeah, San Francisco snowflakes.
So one more time, Fred. So you said you're against it? I didn't get that part. I don't know if you made that clear.
We are honoring them. God damn it, we're honoring their bravery, their tenacity, their unyielding strength and dedication. That's what the team was based on. That's why they could have named them the fucking Buffalo. The fucking put a buffalo, the fucking moose, no, they took people who were fearless. Who else they gonna put? Who else they gonna put? What other people are fucking fearless like that? That were fearless warriors. That fucking we were honoring them. They're part of American history. We
The
love them.
Vikings, Freddie.
The Vikings. You don't see these people in Minnesota saying, "Oh, I'm a descendant of the. I'm a little offended." No, fucking unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
And didn't Vikings rape and pillage villages all over the place? Right?
More pillaging than raping. Have you seen these people up there? They're not worth. They're not. You go down south, there's more rape. You know, I can see that.
It's
Oh
the
boy.
pillaging that gets me.
The pillaging has got to stop. That's what they say in Chicago. They're not rioters. They're pillaging.
I think what's his name? I'm Fred. I'm sure we heard this. Jim Gaffigan has a really funny bit about that. Like, Lincoln's taking over. They're all big, beautiful blonde women. Like, oh, please, I'll put roses on them on my cot here. Pillage me.
Pillage me.
Pillage me, baby. It's the stupidest thing to come out and support. It's not an issue. It shouldn't even be an issue, yet it constantly is.
Okay, so let's touch on it, Freddie, while we're getting, we're speaking our mind right here. We have in college sports going on right now. We have, and you hate to talk about it because you don't want to offend anybody, but who the heck cares? There's no transgender men that should be racing against a biologically born female and winning medals and world championships and taking their positions away, something they've worked their whole lives for. What do you say to those that are cheating out there in women's sports?
It's a women's rights issue. There's no more women's rights. They took women's rights away. They fought for it for 80, 100 years, and now they took it out. Now a woman does not have a right to be safe in a locker room, to be with other women, and she doesn't have the right to be safe in a girl's bathroom. She doesn't have the right to compete against other women. They took women's rights, they ripped them up, and they threw them in the toilet. And there's not one women's group that is out there. It's always like these individual athletes that are brave enough to come forward, but there's no women's rights groups that are coming forward and saying, yes, we back you 100%, and we will. And in swimming, you can't do nothing about it. Uh, and these kids, you know what it is? They can't come out and say, we're not swimming. That's it. You're going to have them there? We're not swimming. You can't. There's no professional women swimmers. They know they're not going to go on to a career of fucking swimming. They're just doing it to get this scholarship and maybe, get a great job in the workplace later. So they have to compete against this fucking piece of garbage that's got, that's physically bigger than them. And this is what we're up against. It's an assault on women. There are no more women's rights. But my take on it is with wrestling, you get some dude that's going to go up against your girl. You say, wait a minute. You go to the football team. You get a big fucking dude and you say, put a wig on. I want you to kick this guy's fucking ass. And then you'll see some of it change.
There's even been women that have been hurt in some of the sports against these men. Stephen J., you're up there at Oswego State. You're in a college area there. What would you say to maybe a sister that's on the swim team? We know it's not, you don't have a sister on the swim team, but let's say you had a sister on the swim team, and there's this guy in there that's undressing and showering along with the women in the locker room. Wouldn't that put them in a peculiar situation?
I would say so. I would be, very upset if, I had a daughter who had been working her whole life as a swimmer, a wrestler, a golfer, a basketball player who wanted to, master their craft and be the best. And then, all of a sudden, you know, one month later, you're going up against, someone like that. It seems a little unfair to the person that's been trying their whole life and trying to get them to the top of their sport or the top of their field.
Well, right now, there's measures to be going against what's going on with all this, and we'll see how it plays out. Just doesn't really seem fair. What do you say, John? You have young daughters that aspiring college athletes. What do you say, John?
It makes it super tough to allow this to go on when you have a natural born female competing in female sports, and then some states are allowing this for them to compete against natural females. I just think it's wrong.
It's a safety issue too. Let's not kid ourselves. Guys in a woman's locker room, there's a safety issue. Now, it's not just 19-year-old college women. There's 12-year-old girls who no longer have the right to privacy in a girl's locker room. Now you could have a 14 or 15-year-old boy naked in front of them. I mean, there is a safety issue there because, let's face it, boys impregnate girls. If it's all girls, it can't happen. So this girl lost her right, and not only her right to be safe, her right to feel safe. I'm not saying all of them are going to rape someone. They're not. But the girl has the right to feel safe in this environment, and she lost that right. They lost all their rights with all this. And here's the thing. Half the population is female. Do you know the percentage of transgender in America? It's less than 1%. So we gave less than 1% the power over 50%, 180 million women lost their rights because of 1/2 of 1% of these fucking people. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me how this could happen. Give them their own locker room. Oh, you're transgender? And you want to? Okay, we have a locker room for you. We'll partition it out. 4 pieces of sheetrock. Boom, 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 boom. Here's a bench. You change over here. That's it.
Well, Fred, maybe the answer is their own league. What do you think about a TGL?
Exactly.
The answer is Bat Day at Yankee Stadium. You get in the bathroom with my daughter and I pound your head in with a Louisville Slugger. Yes, we have their own locker room, their own league. They don't want that. You see, that's the thing. We all think that it's all good and well. They don't want that. They don't want their own league. They want to go and dominate women's sports. They want to take their rights away. They don't want their own league. Believe me, they've been asked this. No, we're women and we want to partake in women's sports. And that's their fight.
Disruption is what it is, Fred.
Yes, it's
100%.
stripping of basic human rights.
Hey, Doug, if I'm not mistaken, let's go back to the 70s here real quick. In the Bad News Bears, wasn't the girl the best player in the team?
Oh yeah,
Right? It was the girl Kelly, right? Who was the best player.
Jodie Foster.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you notice you don't have women going into men's sports. You know why? Because biologically they are inferior. And they don't want to admit that. They don't want to admit fifth grade science that women are physically inferior. They're physically different. So that's why we have women's sports, so that they have an opportunity to compete amongst themselves. If LeBron James puts a wig on and goes to the WNBA, he shatters every record. He shatters a couple of faces, and it's just the most ridiculous thing in the world. Yet, if the girl goes to the NBA, guess what? She never gets off the bench. There's
Well,
a reason.
let's go back a number of years, Fred, and you'll probably remember. Bobby will remember. Wasn't there a professional tennis player, Renee Richards? I believe it was
Yes.
Dr. Renee Richards, played tennis. So that was like the original. The original. The OG.
The OG.
Yeah.
She was the OG. OG of the PP. Let me tell you something. You know what? She was horrible, so it didn't matter.
And
He was
of course, Bruce Jenner, of course, uh, in the news lately, but he did not compete. Just for the younger generation, he did not compete in the Olympics as a woman. Okay, so he was a champion.
And
Man,
he's a big voice for women's rights.
yes.
He said, look, we're so far superior. It doesn't make sense. We shouldn't be doing it.
And he didn't try to cheat the system, is what I'm saying.
Right. I agree. And listen, there's a lot of transgender people who are against it too, because they're saying like, no, we're so far superior, we shouldn't be in it. But those voices are never heard.
Sure, and Title IX years ago, it gave the women the rights. So it's kind of like going against what we work so hard to achieve.
They lost all their rights. If we're going to strip rights of women, let's strip them from driving and voting, but not from playing basketball and baseball.
Well, I say just combine men's and women's sports then. Just combine the NBA and the WNBA. Just combine it. Have a major draft, and it wouldn't be right.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine if a big hockey player went into the girls' league? It's happened. It's happened once, and two girls got hurt.
Yes.
One got a head broken.
Yes. Skull fracture. Unbelievable.
Wasn't it John
No, it's not
McEnroe
fair.
who said that Serena Williams would be ranked like 700th in tennis? Didn't John McEnroe say that? He said Serena would be ranked 700th in men's tennis.
Well, the guy that is the championship swimmer, I believe he was ranked number 400 in the men, and then went on to win. Oh, crazy! What's going on? You don't even. If you don't even watch the news and you hear about it, you say, what?
Now, did we lose Freddie? Because I wanted to ask him about the Cowboys since he was on such a roll.
I think we have. Momentarily. I'll bring him back on when he comes on.
I think he tried to drink the phone. I think that was it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, how about those Knicks, right? Well, let's see. We got the Knicks. Does it bother anyone else that the Knicks play like once a week now in the playoffs? I thought in the regular season you could have as many times in between. That's fine. But once it comes to playoff time, I mean, waiting 2 games in between, 2 off days, and then playing a game, it's so you try and build this momentum and you try and get into it with playoff basketball. I mean, hockey, they're going almost every night. Hockey, they have 1 day off and they're going back. They're going from, Vancouver to LA and then back in 24 hours. That's my little pet peeve with the Knicks right there. So 10-10 right now, All Point Sports. Bobby Blackjack. On the Western side, I guess kind of our closing topic for the night. In your opinion, Draymond Green, should he or should he have not been suspended?
I didn't see the incident because unfortunately, real quick, let's take one half step back. How ridiculous is it? Like the other night, there was a 10 o'clock game start time for an NBA playoff game. 10 p.m. What the hell is that?
First round, I mean, I'll take games at like 7, 8, and 10 if that means. I know you're getting up there, Bobby. So 10 o'clock isn't what it used to be, but
Well, I'm gonna start stretching out my sleep pattern. In a few months, I'll be up to 2 o'clock in the morning,
yeah.
6 days a week. So I gotta start stretching like a bullpen arm.
Oh,
I gotta start stretching out my sleep schedule a little bit.
you're a DJ, right? You guys are night owls.
I've been going to bed 11 o'clock lately, so it's gonna have to change soon because I'm not gonna last.
Mm-hmm. But hey, if you saw the play, a lot of professionals and analysts are saying that he shouldn't have been suspended. I will disagree that you take. I get when you get sentenced for a court case and you're being sentenced to go to prison. Prior convictions do make
Yes.
you don't get the benefit of the doubt as someone else would. But I feel like for the NBA playoffs, I mean, if you murder someone, you get out of jail, you murder that again. That's one thing. But in the NBA, in the playoffs, I mean, you got to give them a little leeway where it's obvious we saw that Game 5, Draymond Green getting suspended. That play one game out of a 7-game series, that played a big factor into the Cavs winning the championship.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, down 2-0, are the Kings probably going to win the series with a full squad? I think so. But just the fact that the NBA is reaching their hands just a little too deep into that area where it's, possibly taking a win away from them. Draymond Green isn't that important as it used to be. But still, was it a bad play? Yes. But taking, because they said two things, how hard he stomped and his priors. They said the silent part out loud, I think.
Hey, I think you might see the dismantling of a small dynasty. If the Kings look really good, they're really young, they're really hungry, and I think there's a huge series for them. See, look at the geographics of it all. They are an hour and a half away, right, from I guess Oakland, and they're tired of being the stepchild of the NBA franchises in California, and they're making a statement. And I think if the Kings win this series, I think you might see some changes in the Golden State.
And it certainly doesn't help. Like you said, the Kings are getting better. The Suns got Durant, right? I mean, they were in a division not too long ago when they were in the first dynasty where the Suns were bad. The Clippers were good, not great. The Lakers were nothing, right? Even the Lakers are kind of taking that step forward. The Kings were obviously trash. The Warriors are getting into, they were the top of the Western Conference. Now they're not even the top of their own division. So you got to take that into account there where just, it used to be the Warriors in the playoffs and then they get going. Now it's, they got to work in the regular season to get good seeding because that wasn't the case this year going up against the three seed Kings.
I predict that if they lose the series, I think the big three gets dismantled. But just like maybe one, I think maybe Draymond Green or Thompson, one of them will get traded or move on to a different team. I think two will stay together with the young pieces. But
I would gotta say, like watching that game live last night when there was a rebound and Draymond Green grabbed it and then like butt checked Sabonis, made him fall. So he stopped the game. They called a flagrant on him then. They reviewed it. They waived the flagrant. So kept him in the game. Nothing really happened, just a personal foul. Then that play happened. Sabonis grabs his leg. Then he does the stone cold stomp on his chest. And then the part where he's going back and forth with the crowd like he's Hulk Hogan, and then he's just cussing back and forth with that fan in the crowd, and then that's the part where it got out of control, but he got ejected. So they did what they had to do, but suspending him for game 3 I think is over the line. But they're going back home, which they're great at home and they're terrible on the road. So hopefully might be able to pull this out and then win Game 4 with Green back, and it'll be a close series. We'll see.
All right, Doc Holliday. Predictions for Friday's Knicks game. Knicks versus Cavs. They're back in the Garden. They're back in New York City. They got thousands and thousands of fans ready to back the Knicks, kind of as their sixth man out there on the court. Do the Cavs ride that wave after Game 2? Was Game 1 just an anomaly? Or are the Knicks going to come back? They're going to feel comfortable at home. We're going to get good Brunson and Randall, and the Knicks are going to take Game 3. What says you?
I say I keep away from the Caesar Zap on my phone. I put the phone away. I take both my hands. I put them like this, and I just pray for the Knicks to win. Please, Knicks, win Game 3.
JG, what says you?
Let's go Knicks, baby. We gotta bounce back. The energy in the Garden. We just got to win a playoff series and move on at least to the next round. I know Donovan Mitchell's from New York, so he's gonna try to go nuts in the Garden, and hopefully that's the case where he's just trying to do it by himself, kind of like in Game 1. He had a great game, but really nobody else got involved for Cleveland. And then Game 2, he kind of took the back seat and got everybody else involved, and then it kind of backfired. So let's see. And then it's all about officiating as well. People are saying, like, after Game 1, they're like, oh, the Knicks hit us in the mouth. We got to come back and be physical. But you never know who the heck the refs are going to be because it's inconsistent in every game.
It's the NBA, the officiating. It's always going to be an issue. And hey, shout out Chris Paul. Got his first win after 14 games with Scott Foster as the official. So shout out to him there. Yeah, the Knicks, I mean, we're past the point now. This is a good enough team where it's not just making the playoffs is good enough, right? You got to make a deep, sustained run at least once, right? We're so tired of the one and dones as a Knick fan, right? You got the Heat not too long ago when you ran into LeBron James, the Celtics, I think it was a gentleman's sweep, also with the Melo team. They made it to the Pacers in the semifinals, I think. But now it's, it's either you get off the pot or you go for the Knicks. And the fact that they're going up against Donovan Mitchell and considering that they could have had him at the start of the year and they didn't want to give up all those assets, that he may take him out of the playoffs. Unfortunately, there's nothing more poetic than that in the NBA. So as much as I want to go Knicks here, that Game 2 really brought me down. But I think that they'll be a lot more comfortable at home. Randall plays much better basketball in the Garden than he does anywhere else. The Knicks have had some trouble winning at home in the playoffs. We've seen that. But you know what? I'm keeping the faith. I say Game 3. This is obviously a series that can go 6 or 7. I think Game 3 only adds on to that. Knicks by a small margin on Friday coming back. That's going to make them angry coming home after a win like that. We're going to see if they got some fight in them. This is going to tell the rest of the series.
And we know to go to Bobby Blackjack on this will be just not a good thing. Bobby. So what do you say, Bobby? Knicks and the Nets in the next round?
Nah. I'm just happy what we accomplished after the clean out, and I'm looking forward to next year already. Hopefully we win one of these next 2 home games and make it at least a 5-game series. I'll be happy. But you're not beating the Cavaliers without Josh Hart, so if he doesn't play, you guys are done.
Yeah, Josh Hart has to play just because he does everything that the other players do not want to do. And that's what makes him great.
And one of the players that what they don't want to do is Quentin Grimes. And the thing he doesn't want to do is score. I don't know what kind of love affair Grimes has with Tom Thibodeau, but I'm getting real sick and tired of 30, 35 minutes from Grimes and seeing a bagel next to the point score.
Well, then I would take a Cavaliers player with over 10 rebounds because it looks like the Knicks will be putting up a lot of bricks on Friday night. So it could go the other way where the Donovan may be putting up those bricks. I think the Knicks are going to come out strong on Friday, and show New York what they're made of. They've put up many points this year. Even the last game of the season, they put up over 130 and lost the game. So they're definitely capable.
Taking a look around the league, it's like a New Jersey Nets score type of affair in Milwaukee right now. 81-62, they're beating the Heat.
Oh, well, you guys scored 80 points the other night. Who are you talking about?
Yeah.
And we got Memphis taking game 2 without Ja Morant. They obviously knew how to play without him with Jones at the guard, but surprising win for Memphis. Obviously, they're at home, but it's not going to be as easy for the Lakers as we thought it was, gentlemen.
Big win for Memphis. Desmond Bain had an outstanding game, and they're actually a really good record without Morant. I mean, I know he's a great player, but they do play really good without him as well.
Well, the talk of moving the Brooklyn Nets out of Brooklyn next year and bringing in the G League team, we'll see what happens.
There's no relegation in sports.
It's not like soccer, thankfully.
There should be, though. There really should be.
That's what they're considering, right? For the NBA, isn't that one of the things that they're doing? Bring a G League team up and then sending teams down. That's one of the new rules for tanking. I mean, God bless the NBA for trying to stop it, but there's just a point where you got to go, enough's enough. You know, you can't make a play-in tournament with all bottom seeds. You can't make, G League teams getting sent down. It's beyond me, but the NBA is getting creative, and baseball's taking notice on that with some of the things that they're trying out now.
So tell us, John, in Rapid City, you got the G League team. Tell us about that, and tell us about some of the players that went from the G League out to the Lakers. I know you were talking about it when I saw you out there a few weeks ago.
Yep, so it's based out of Sioux Falls. They're the Sioux Falls Skyforce, and they're affiliated with the Miami Heat, which is crazy because it's so far away. But
What?
you had Hassan Whiteside, Tyler Johnson, Bill Walker. Those are 3 big ones that made it to the NBA, got big contracts, and they all started right here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And they're the affiliate to the Miami Heat, which is crazy. But
So how many years has that been going on?
Ever since the G League started, Sioux Falls has had a team and been affiliated with the Miami Heat.
Nice.
That is kind of crazy, geographically speaking. Wow.
And before, when it started, there used to be 15 players on the NBA roster. And then when the G League got involved with the affiliate, now it goes up to 17 players on a roster, where you could have 2 guys sign where they could bounce back and forth between the G League and the NBA. So if they're not playing every night, they, like the Knicks, they were sending Deuce McBride, Jericho Sims, just to get in, game action if they're not playing every single night. So it helps.
Because the Nets had the Long Island Nets, and they're what, 30 miles away, Steve? Like from Nassau Coliseum to Brooklyn? Not even 30 miles.
Maybe a little more, but about there.
It's not far away, right?
Oh, another famous Sioux Falls Skyforce was Joe Harris. I saw him live, and he was hitting everything. And next thing you know, he's on the Nets. Wins the 3-point, shootout and lethal shooter.
Playoff Joe Harris, they call him.
And will not be at net next year.
And wasn't a G Leaguer that won the dunk competition as well?
Yes, Sam McClung.
McClung.
Max McClung, yep.
So we'll see maybe as a New York Knick next year?
Probably not. But we'll see.
We got top, and we got enough guys that can dunk and do nothing else.
Free Obi. Obi needs more minutes.
Yeah, I'm saying we can get. I'm fine with getting rid of Randall and giving Toppin his share. Get some in return for Randall, a pick, a semi-decent wing, something. But that might be a different topic for a different day, considering we got basketball in a couple days, and everyone will have to enjoy that. I know we'll be waiting with bated breath until then, but we're in a good stretch of sports. We got hockey playoffs, we got NBA playoffs, we got baseball. We even got the NFL draft coming up in a week or two. We'll probably have a special on that here on All Point Sports, channel 114 for Bobby Blackjack, Doc Holliday, JG the Kid, Stephen Byer. Any last words, gentlemen?
Yeah, we want to thank Fred Rubino, comedy star Fred Rubino for coming on to the show tonight. We're still open for sponsors. We're in talks with a couple of companies right now who are very interested in sponsoring our sports show and other programming on blackjacktv.net.
So we're gonna,
And,
Doc, we're gonna have to figure this out now. Excuse me, Steve and John. So I would think during the summer, right? We have to start earlier if we want to do this live every Wednesday night. All right.
Oh, yes, yes.
I mean, we'll be live, you and I, and then we'll have whoever, the other guys beaming in from wherever. And we just got to figure out, so hopefully there'll be a little time switch once, June comes around, end of June.
Can't wait.
Daylight saving sports. I like it.
So, Doc, based on our conversation today, I'm thinking out loud to myself, maybe we have to reveal the sex of the turtles before we really release them from the bin.
Good point, Bobby. I want to play by the rules here.
All right. Do you know offhand how many of a male or female wins more or not? Do you know offhand? On the turtles?
Yeah, male turtle. Male turtle's a little more spunky.
And do you have females in the bunch?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Dominated by females. And the females win their fair share.
Okay, just curious. Good point.
All right. Hey, thanks for joining on All Point Sports. We'll see you back at it 9 o'clock every Wednesday. Enjoy playoff basketball, hockey. Try and enjoy the Nets game if you possibly can. Keep a bucket nearby just in case. And we'll see you back here, Channel 114 on Blackjack TV. Special thanks, Fred Rubino, for this. Did not hold back one bit here on All Point Sports, but that's what we're all about. And we'll see you guys on Wednesday, 9 p.m., hopefully with some good playoff news by then. Have a good night.
Right.
Special guest Chris Monty next week. Have a great